Imagine a towering metal cabinet shaped like a human body. Heavy doors swing open, and inside, rows of sharp steel spikes waiting silently. This was the Iron Maiden, one of history's most infamous torture devices. The Iron Maiden wasn't about quick pain. It was about slow suffering. Victims were forced inside, the doors shut tight, and spikes pierced their body. Not deep enough to kill instantly, but just enough to cause agony with every breath, every movement. Some say the spikes were carefully placed to avoid vital organs, prolonging the torture for hours, even days. Blood loss, shock, and infection were part of the punishment. Death came slowly, but fear came instantly. But let's step back for a moment. The Middle Ages were an era where fear ruled. Justice wasn't always about fairness, it was about control. Kings, inquisitors, and executioners needed ways to remind people who held power. Public torture wasn't just punishment, it was theater. And the Iron Maiden, whether real or exaggerated, was the perfect stage prop. In some accounts, the condemned were displayed in marketplaces. Crowds would gather, watching as a person was locked inside the spiked coffin. The doors closed, muffling the screams. Blood seeped through the cracks. The message was clear: disobey, and this could be you. But here's the dark twist. Many historians believe the Iron Maiden was more myth than reality. The earliest solid references to it, Da Noshti, appear until the late 18th and 19th centuries, centuries after the Middle Ages. Possible that writers exaggerated or even invented it to make the past look more barbaric than it truly was. So, was it ever actually used? Fragments of spiked coffins existed, yes, but there's little direct evidence of people being executed inside one. Instead, it may have been a product of imagination or propaganda, something to shock readers, to sell books, to prove that earlier centuries were brutal and uncivilized. But here's the irony. Whether real or myth, the Iron Maiden still worked as a weapon. Fear doesn't require proof. It only requires belief. The very idea of being trapped inside a coffin of spikes was enough to terrify people, enough to keep them obedient. And think about it. Is that really so different from today? We may not have Iron Maidens in public squares anymore, but societies still use fear to control. Laws, prisons, propaganda, media. Fear has always been one of the strongest tools of authority, so perhaps the real torture wasn't the spikes. It was the story, a story powerful enough to survive for centuries, whispered from generation to generation, until it became legend. The Iron Maiden reminds us that history isn't just about what happened, it's also about what people believed. Sometimes the myth is just as dangerous as reality, because belief shapes behavior, and behavior shapes history. Whether it stood in medieval dungeons or only in our imagination, the Iron Maiden remains a chilling symbol, a reminder that when fear becomes power, cruelty always follows.